Alex Mann, the Baltimore Sun, TNS, the culpability of the man who murdered 5 Capital Gazette employees is no longer in question, yet a handful of steps, including the possibility of an extra court date, remain before he's sent to prison, experts said. Arundel Circuit Court Judge Michael Wachs accepted the jury's verdict Thursday that the gunman who killed Gerald Fischman, Rob Hiaasen, John McNamara, Rebecca Smith and Wendi Winters was legally sane at the time of the mass shooting and is, therefore, criminally responsible. Attorneys are coordinating their calendars to set a sentencing for sometime in September. At that hearing, Wachs has discretion to sentence Jarrod Ramos to life without the possibility of parole, life with the chance of parole, which experts said is almost certain not to happen, or a life sentence with some amount of time suspended. In the meantime, Ramos has 10 days from the verdict to ask for a new trial. In a case of this magnitude, I'm sure they will file a motion for a new trial, citing an error that prevented justice, said Peter O'Neill, a veteran defense attorney. Jennifer Alexander, an attorney and former prosecutor, said such a motion would have to convince the trial judge that he made legal errors to the point that it's in the interest of justice to set a new trial. She said the motions are usually filed on the grounds of newly discovered evidence, juror misbehavior, prosecutorial misconduct or a verdict contrary to evidence. With such wide discretion, a judge can deny a motion for a new trial without a hearing. And while Alexander and others agreed Wachs is likely to set a court date for arguments to avoid an easy avenue for appeal, that doesn't mean such a motion would succeed. Basically the motion for a new trial is saying, "Judge, you made this mistake or that mistake, can you review your decision now?" said attorney Charles Bernstein, a former prosecutor and Baltimore Circuit Judge. Good luck with that. After trial, Arundel County State's Attorney Colt Leitess told reporters prosecutors tried a very clean trial. The judge was very careful and cautious, Leitess said. Mr. Ramos had his day in court. Prosecutors at one point asked Wachs to strike the testimony of the defense's key witness, Dr. Dorothy Lewis, a psychiatrist who testified Ramos was insane. They said her statements hadn't connected her conclusions about Ramos' mental illness to Maryland's insanity standard. Wachs said he wasn't convinced she'd met the bar but allowed her testimony to remain in the record because he worried the appellate courts would send it right back based on his decision. The state's Department of Parole and Probation already has begun a presentence investigation that Wachs ordered after the verdict. Such investigations are required in cases where the defendant faces life in prison without the possibility of parole, the highest possible penalty in Maryland after the state abolished the death penalty in 2013.